Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video we will be talking about the T-1 Jayhawk, the United States Air Force jet trainer for pilots who go on to fly airlift and tankers. Please remember to like and subscribe. Alright, let's get right into it. Fact 1. Trainer for large airlifts and tankers. This jet trainer is not for pilots who are just beginning their flight training. They use a different aircraft for people who have never flown before. However, after they know the basics of flying and is able to pilot an aircraft, they diverge into multiple different types of tracks. There are tracks for helicopters, fighter jets, and of course airlift cargo planes and tankers. The T-1 Jayhawk is for the tanker and cargo plane track. The pilots, after graduating the primary school, will move on to this jet airplane to get understanding how jet aircraft works. This is to prepare them to fly cargo planes and tanker planes, but not fighter jets. For fighter jets, there's a different type of jet trainer that I have talked about, and you can check it out from the link in the description below. As you can see, the T-1 Jayhawk is not a highly maneuverable supersonic aircraft. It looks like a typical corporate jet aircraft. As you can see, this does not look like the typical military airplane. In fact, as we will get into the next section, it is derived from civilian business corporate jets. Alright, Fact 2. Hawker 400. As I mentioned in the previous section, the T-1 Jayhawk looks very much like a corporate private jet. The light small ones that is, and it is not a coincidence. In fact, the T-1 Jayhawk is simply a military version of the Hawker 400. That's right, the United States Air Force took what's working in the civilian world and adapted to their use so they can train pilots to fly jet aircrafts with multiple jet engines. A big difference is that the military version has swept wings and has structural enhancements to provide increased protection against bird strikes and additional fuselage to carry more fuel. So as you can see, they made various adjustments and adaptations so that it could become a trainer aircraft rather than a business jet that's ferrying people from one location to another. The military typically operates these jets in remote air bases and as a result need that bird strike protection. Additionally, they probably fly this all the time versus a corporate jet where it's only flown during charter periods, and so they need more fuel to sustain flying for long periods of time to continue training pilots that eventually graduate and flight airlift cargo planes or tankers. Raytheon partnered with Beechcraft to design and manufacture these airplanes for the U.S. Air Force. It is a joint venture between a defense company and an airplane manufacturer. A very nice combination, I would say. Alright, let's get into the next section. Fact 3. The Navigator training. Another interesting part about the T-1 Jayhawk is that it's not just training pilots, it also trains navigators so that they can be aware of how to navigate in the air. The Navigator training extends beyond just the U.S. Air Force and actually also includes Navy and Marine Corps. In addition, it also has other international services that have Navigator training requirements will also use this aircraft. And so as you can see, it's not just about flying this particular type of aircraft or flying multi-engine jet engine aircrafts. It's also about getting understandings of how to navigate in the air and how to properly understand to chart a course to plan flights as well as avoid any weather or enemy situations. Typical duties of a navigator requires using the onboard radar to determine location and presence of other aircraft and also communications of radio and coordination with home base. It is likely that the T-1 Jayhawk is also outfitted with similar equipment on board in the main cabin area. It's not just going to be wide reclining seats and couches, but rather radar equipment and radio equipment and so forth to help navigators train. Navigators are also a very critical part of the crew because you can help the pilot in taking some of the mental burden on flying and concentrate more on controlling the aircraft and have the navigator help other concentrating tasks. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 4. 3-person cockpit. A very interesting part about the T-1 Jayhawk is the fact that its cockpit can accommodate 3 people. Typically during flight training, only one person is being trained, while the other person is the instructor. However, in the T-1 Jayhawk, the setup is that the pilot and the co-pilot are being trained at the same time by an instructor who sits in the middle and behind the 2 seats. So as you can see, this really can reduce the amount of time necessary to train pilots, because now you can train two at the same time, and they both know exactly what to do going into the real airlift or tanker aircraft. Because of their training, being able to train two pilots instead of one could drastically reduce the time it takes to get pilots' proficiency to start flying aircrafts, and it is absolutely in the best interest of the US Air Force to do just that. Think about it. If it takes a really long time to turn out tanker pilots or airlift cargo pilots, they are going to suffer in terms of pipeline and a lack of available pilots. With the T-1 Jayhawk, they are able to train both the pilot and co-pilot at the same time, so that both of them could act as a duel, if you will, and move on to the actual airplane with all the necessary training conducted. In the T-1 Jayhawk, if they have to train one pilot at a time, it would take so much longer. The more capacity and efficiency to train more pilots at the same time is key to maintaining enough specialized pilots. It is important to maintain enough people, because last thing you want is to have people drop out or change plans, and a sudden reduction of trainees. Alright, let's get into the next and final fact: $4.1 million each. The T-1 Jayhawk is actually a rather inexpensive aircraft compared to other aircrafts in the US Air Force. Now, I understand $4.1 million is quite a bit of money, but in the world of aviation, and especially jets, it's not that much. In fact, larger private civilian corporate jets cost way more, in the 50 to 70 million range. I think the T-1 Jayhawk presents a tremendous value and cost savings for the US Air Force, because $4.1 million is really nothing for the United States defense budget. And so, as you can see, they can afford many of these trainers, and airlift cargo and tanker pilots can train as quick as possible. Alright, that's it for my video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.